welcome to the Daily Chess Puzzle. Today we are continuing the Endgame course for the pawn endgames, and we will be looking at the concept of the opposing squares. And I will start highlighting key squares in this position. If white gets his king on one of these key squares, that will mean that he wins the game. So let's, for example, make a bad move for black and get the white king to the first key square. So black tries to move around, and what can he do now? For example, like this. He's lost. So go back to start. So now we look at another key square, and it's the one on b3. So suppose the king has to go now here so that white cannot move on the key square. Now we go over there. And if he tries to protect the pawn, then now he's forced to move away, and we will win this also. So it turns out that for all these squares the white king can be on, there is an opposing square that the black king needs to be on in order to draw the game, and I have highlighted these squares now for you. So if white king is on e1, for example, black king has to go to f3. White king on d1, black king on e3, and then if white king moves over here, black king has to move along there. So when white steps on a2, black king has to move here in order to keep him off from the b3 square. So let's try this out. And we move over. And black is in time. If white goes back, now we have to make sure that if white goes on the b1 square again, we have to be on c5. Because if, for example, make the mistake now to go to c5, and then white goes to b1, now it's messed up for black. Now we cannot prevent anymore that white is coming in. And that will bring us to the next position, where the key square is the b6 square. And if white king goes over to c5, the black king goes to c7 to prevent white getting on the key square. So we have two opposing squares here. And if the white king goes to d6, then the black king goes over to d8. So also those two squares are opposing squares. And then of course the starting squares are opposing squares as well. But now the white player has an option to do a triangulation maneuver to break these dependencies. And that is done by white going to d4 first. And if here black goes to c7, then white goes to c5. And now this dependency is broken because black has to move away and white gets on the key square. And also, if he goes back, so the king tries the other way, then we make another waiting move. And if king goes back to c8, now we finish this triangle. And we are in the starting position again, but it's a black to move. And that also means that whatever he does, he's lost now. Because we have seen this position. And that wins for white. And if he goes here, then we step forward. And king goes to the side. We win like this, as we have seen from the first lecture. So this finishes this pawn endgame lecture number 3, and I hope you have learned something, and thank you for watching and have a nice day.